What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Trying Casually Games, and today we have something a little bit different. And today we have MookDubsMTG. He's a famous MTG ambassador and all-around cool guy. You give a weird face when you say famous, but like I see you in the MTG arena now. I literally sent you the video. I was like, I had to show you.
Oh, yeah, you just listen. I maybe it's just me always trying to like not give myself imposter syndrome or anything like that. But
What it is you're
I
just humble.
thank you. I like to think of it that way then. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's a weird things to hear next to my name for just making glorified shit posts on TikTok and Instagram.
Well, so like, did you ever think like one day you would be like an MTG content creator? Like
No,
in my mind, it just seems so far fetched from like the
no,
norm.
because I like hadn't been playing the game in years. I picked it back up during like a lot of people during COVID, um, and fellow creator Tori of the Vast like got into content first, and then she was like, "I don't know why you're not doing this." I was like, "Okay, I'll just start doing it," and it kind of started off like slowly, and then just a couple like popped off at the right time, and next thing you know, Arena's like, "Hey, do you want to do an ad?" And I just keep doing more and more unhinged things until they tell me that's too much.
I mean, hey, isn't that the way to do it?
Kinda. I'm waiting for like it's that, and anytime like I do something like as far as like being an ambassador, it's like I'm just waiting until somebody tells me that's too weird. You can't do that.
Well, yeah, you got to see the boundaries. You got to figure out where your play
Yeah,
space is.
like I know like there's certain like you can't curse and no like
Oh yeah,
overtly
you're not
controversial
being
stuff or anything
blatant
like
with
that.
it, but
No,
just
but I'm just doing weird things that I think are funny.
yeah, absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with that. And we appreciate you for it because you give like a cool like different take to it. You know what I mean? Like it's more of like the everyday dude.
I say it to myself. It's like I try to be the foil to Sam from of Ristic Studies, where his stuff is super well thought out, researched, and produced, and I'm the guy who's like uh, when you're at your commander game night and you have to poop real bad or something like that, and
Oh
people are
yeah,
like, "Yeah,
absolutely.
yep."
Yeah, see,
I try to I try to really just like make jokes around the things that everyone knows is really there. Not knows is really there, but like it's the I'm the lowbrow comedian of this of the community.
I say the same thing about us. So we basically are trying casually because trying casually is the peak that we can be, not the
Yeah.
what we strive to be. It's my personal maximum that I can possibly be. I'm not getting any better. This is it. I've reached the limit. But yeah. And today we have something very exciting to talk about. We have come to bring you the Caesar, Elieser's Emperor deck. This is what is this deck called? Sorry, hold on. I had it
This
pulled up.
is that's a great question that I am struggling to find the answer for in front of me, and I'm looking at the
Hail
link right
Caesar
here.
is what it's called.
Yes, that's what it was. I knew it the whole time. I was testing you.
Yeah,
Good job.
absolutely. But yeah, but I don't believe they actually call him Caesar. I think they call him Czar, or they say it weird. They don't say it Caesar.
Caesar, like
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
game.
yeah. In the game, they
Oh
say
yeah.
Caesar.
So I we were talking about this a little before starting, like controversial talk.
Yeah, I am
Fallout New
not
Vegas is
super
not
familiar with.
me neither.
Yeah, we'll put that out
I
there.
played.
I'll put a warning in here, like a big
Yep.
flashing lights. Yeah.
I played three. Like I mean, like most, I guess, modern like players like our age. Like you probably started with three, and then I skipped over three right into four.
Yeah, absolutely. I dabbled in two, but at the
I
time
want to go back into play,
I
but
didn't really like that style of game.
yeah, like
After playing
those. It's
Baldur's Gate, though, I think I could actually play that.
I think certain retro, even though people don't like that term, like games like are kind of you had to play it when it came out, unless you really have like
Yeah, they
the
don't. Some games just don't hold up.
like even like another controversial take. MookDub gets canceled because I still can't finish Final Fantasy VII,
Oh
and I'm
yeah.
really trying.
Well, so
I'm
here's
really
my
trying,
controversial
and
take. I don't really like Zelda,
all right, that's kind of yeah, that's bad. All right, wait, like which ones are we talking about though?
like the
We're talking
originals.
N64.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's canceled.
To be fair, my first like the Zelda that I actually like was Breath of the Wild.
Okay, which is like I have not played. I'm like core '90s kid, so I played
Yeah.
like
Well, and then I'll go even further. My first Nintendo system was like a Game Boy that I got like in 2013 or something.
I thought you were going to say like the old brick ones because that was the first one I
No,
got.
no,
Was the
no.
big
It was
old
like way
brick
longer
Game
than it should
Boys
have.
with
Yeah.
Tetris in it and like probably like some random Mega Man
I
game.
was a Sega kid, and then I got a hand-me-down PlayStation 1, and I never
Okay,
went back.
I was But yeah, I was pretty mainline Nintendo until I got like a PlayStation 2, and then it was like,
Yeah, that fits.
this is video games.
But yeah, so we've come together and talk about this deck. So Caesar Legion's Emperor is one and Mardu, red, white, and black.
Mordu.
Legendary creature, a human soldier. Whenever you attack, you may sacrifice another creature. Whenever you do, you may choose two. Create two 1/1 red white soldier creature tokens with haste. They're tapped and attacking. You draw a card and lose a life, or he deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target opponent. All of them seem pretty powerful if you
And
can have enough creatures.
the fact that you get to pick two is kind of silly.
Yeah, and it doesn't say you have to choose different ones. You can choose two of the same.
Uh, Judge, I think you have to pick two. If you could pick the same one more than once, I think it would have to be listed on the card. You may pick one mode more than once.
But even still, even if you pick two, create two white humans and draw a card, lose life. That's good.
Yeah. Which you just like so the little bit of like playing that I got to do with this deck, that was pretty much all I would do was every attack, create two, and draw a card and lose a life. Like just to keep like
And then your
get things
final
to
swing, you just can basically nuke player three out of
yeah.
the table while
And
killing
doing
player
that, you're
four.
as long as they don't have like blockers that are going to choke block the 1/1s that come out, um, like you're constantly getting things to feed to Caesar to draw cards. So you're constantly getting fuel to the fire of like your draw engine.
Oh god, yeah, and if you add like a things like anointed procession, which we may have added, you'll actually get two tabs and attacking, and then two that don't come in tabbed and attacking, which is
Yep.
pretty cool. So yeah, and then so we'll hop into the deck, man. So
Yeah.
what did you want to talk about on this today?
So deck is, I mean, it's a precon, so it's not fully focused. Like there's some weird sub theme like kind of cards in there where it's like, all right, well, there's this to match like, oh, it's a New Vegas deck or things like that. But like what they do doesn't make much sense. Like there's some we'll talk about it. Like there's some dice rolling mechanics, but only two cards that do dice rolling. So why would you put those in the deck? Um, there's some. I mean, it's in Mardu, so there's some graveyard stuff, but I think it's really more of just like utility stuff. Like you doesn't need to be leaned into. And then I don't know if it's just with the junk tokens and this way to do like impulse draw. I think is the term we're all referring to it as in the community, where it's putting things into exile to play for that turn or to later into like a later time. So there's some of that, but I think the deck really is just like a creature focused Mardu tokens deck is what you really want to be doing with it. Because that's what I mean. Obviously, like I don't know if it's just because it's a precon, so like the deck really needs the commander out. I think in the end, like it can still kind of do stuff while you rebuild. But like I said, having Caesar out, creating tokens to crunch and draw cards to just get your board getting bigger is super valuable. And I think the way this deck wants to really run. Um, I know we're not going to talk about every card. You told me not to go through every card, so we'd be here for like 2 hours. Just so like I just like these are all the creatures. It is a mostly creature deck. Like even without adding anything, the bulk of the cards I think are creatures that do various stuff like Eddie, Loathsome Eyebot, which I think is actually a really good card because you get quest counters on it as long as you're attacking with more creatures than it has quest counters on, then you can just pop it and draw a bunch of cards, which as long as you're creating a good amount of tokens and keeping them around, is you're gonna have them. With like McCready, Lamplight Bear, creatures that you control with power 2 or less attacks, it has Sculpt, which can't be blocked by creatures with greater power, which as long as you're making a bunch of 1/1s, this card is stupid good in this deck. Uh
Oh yeah, borderline
Kellogg,
on.
it is, yeah, essentially, yeah. So I'll keep it on this. Like, and also, sorry, whenever a creature with power 4 or greater attacks you, its controller loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So it also has protection on it. Like this card is kind of cracked, and you could probably play this as what's white black. That's thank you. I play Magic. Orzhov, if you could do like an Orzhov, I know there's humans, there's vampires. Like this is an extremely powerful card.
Yeah, Orzhov Aristocrats is literally a thing.
Yeah, so, like, this might be the sleeper all star of the deck in like a secret hidden commander to build around. Kellogg is kind of where I was talking, where there's this also like a weird, like maybe some cards like steal your stuff. I don't know why they're in there. There's not like enough payoff for it. I like Kellogg. I like Kellogg for a deck that I'm working on that I can't talk about because it's about sad. Um,
Mm.
I think that, like, Kellogg's really cool. Like, it's kind of has a little bit of like a fair Magda effect where you can sack 5 treasures to do something. That's not sack 5 treasures and put a dragon into play. So Kellogg's cool. Rosie is, I think, a really cool payoff for your junk tokens, which all these sets do. There's always some of this like junk token stuff, but you can get the tokens that you can also just crack them for the impulse draw, but you'd still trigger Rosie and get mana ramp and get like temporary mana. So I think that's also just a cool way to pay off something that you're going to be getting a ton of in this deck anyway. It's a reprint, I believe. Impassioned Orator. I believe this is a reprint. You might need to check that. I know at least in Arena, there's always some white card that whenever a creature comes into play, you gain a life. So again, if you're with Caesar, you attack, get 2, basically pays for the 1 life you're losing on the draw card.
What's
So
the
you're just
mana
gonna
cost in
on
this?
this.
Yep, yep.
It's a 2-drop. It's a white 1 white, and so like you'll attack. Say you're gonna draw a card, pay life, create 2, and you just get your life. You get 2 life back.
Yeah, it was originally in Ravnica Legions.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking. Thank you. Um, just some again, we're not going to go through all of the decks, but Powder Ganger, I had fun with this one because if you have excess mana, you just start blowing up everybody's artifacts.
See, I think that's one thing that the decks really lacked is mana sinks. Like
Yeah,
the science deck had a mana rock that you could pay X into, you get charge counters.
yep. Like you could like if we didn't add them, other sack outlets, Ashnod's Altar, things like that. That is
Oh
not in
yeah,
this deck.
definitely honorable mention.
Honorable mention, if you have the budget, which is still like a $10 card at like an
Yeah,
uncommon
Bitter
spot.
Blossom.
Any kind of sack outlet to get you
Yeah,
mana.
sack outlet or things to make you
Use.
1/1s to just get underneath.
Yep. A card I'm interested to see more is Yes Man, because you tap it, give it to another player, and then when you do, you draw 2 cards, and then the next player can tap it and draw 2 cards. But every time they do that, it gets a quest counter. So as long as the problem is if they don't give it back to you, you can't just sack it. So you'd have to destroy it, and then you get a white soldier for each quest counter on it when it blows up. So
Or board wipe and then you just refill
or
your
a board
board.
wipe. So like it's like a group huggy card, so I can give it around. Everybody's drawn 2 cards, but if this ever goes away, the player, as the owner of the Caesar deck, gets all of these things. I believe is how it works. It's owner, yeah, it's owner. So the person who's with the deck. Those are, I mean, I can't go through all of the cards that are like creature cards. I mean, you got some training. Training is super useful. Gary Clone for the people that played Fallout. I think it's just a funny meme card, and you pay what is it 2 to get more Garys.
Oh, you gotta make more
Uh,
Garys.
You got to make more Garys. Pitiless Plunder, which
Good
feels
reprint.
like it's a good reprint. It feels weird in the deck because it's a pirate. But listen, when you need a reprint that's like a high value reprint, just don't
Jam
think
it in
about it.
there.
Yeah,
Yep.
just
Make
jam
it
it in
fit.
there. Make it fit. I'm just going over like real quick like highlights. I think people are really talking about VATS as far as like
Oh yeah,
being
it's good.
and Deadly's Dispute is pretty good. Great card. What else we got? Secure the Waste is a hot reprint for this deck. Just dump all your mana for one big turn, get a bunch of 1/1s. What do we got? I'm just going through this. Lethal Scheme's kind of sick. Which is making everybody knows it. Entrapment Maneuver, I don't believe is a reprint. I could be wrong. But target player sacrifices an attacking creature and you get a bunch of 1/1s. So it's 4 mana. If someone is attacking you with 4 mana, they probably know you're going to do something to them. Instant sorceries, I think everyone knows. It's Hour of Reckoning, and what is it? Ruinous Ultimatum, Heroic Reinforcements, Martial Coup. I don't think there's really anything like super spicy it's worth talking about. It's sorceries. I do want to talk about it. I like
There's a lot
Battle.
of board wipes in this deck now that I'm looking at
There's
it.
a lot of board wipes, and I'll just go back actually over this. There's board wipes like Vault 75, which exiles all creatures 4 or greater. Sucks because it would blow up your Caesar, but you'd keep your giant army of little guys. I was talking about Battle of Hoover Dam. I like this card a lot. It reminds me a lot of those Khans or Tarkirs or Dragons deck
Yeah,
cards.
dragons are con.
I like that. And Legion's hot. Whatever creature you control dies, put 2+1/+1 counters on target creature. You're attacking
Oh
with
yeah, your
Caesar.
commander. Yeah,
Crunch a 1/1. Put 2+1/+1 counters on it. Pay a life and draw a card and get 2 more
makes him a
guys.
pseudo like Krenko almost.
And like if you can get this out with something else that has like an ETB payoff, like just attacking is like it's just so much things going on. I'm trying to see Black Market. There's really nothing else.
Yeah, Black Market
Intangible
was a
Flex
good
usually.
reprint. Needed to be had.
It's a good reprint. It's not Black Market Connections, which I think I saw somebody
Also
like
needs a
tweet
good
online.
reprint.
Is people were like, just stop printing Black Market and just print Black Market Connections from this point on. Um, Bastion of Remembrance, which I was gonna add to the deck, and then I was going through the listing. I was like, oh, it's already in the deck, um, which is a nice pay like sack outlet payoff card. Um,
Also crazy
these
art.
are I do want to like these two cards. I don't. They're good. Like I think they're really good. I don't know if they really have a purpose in this deck. So
Yeah,
Wild
so I think
Wasteland,
there's good cards in each deck that don't
yeah,
necessarily fit in that deck.
the theme. So like Wild Wasteland. So Wild Wasteland, it's 3 in red. Skip your draw step at the beginning of your upkeep. Exile the top 2 cards from your library. You may pay those cards that turn. Like again, it's more impulse draw, but we have other ways to draw cards. So like this is a good card. And like some decks, that's a great card. I just don't know if it really makes much sense in this deck.
Even in the energy
Um,
deck, it fits. I feel like it fits better.
exactly. Anything that's going to really play from the exile more. And then Stolen Strategy, again, great card. It's 4 in a red, so 5. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of each opponent's library. Until end of turn, you may cast those spells from among exiled cards, and you may spend mana as though it was any color. So, again, really cool card, fun card. I don't know if it's supposed to be like, oh, Caesar, they're like bandits, and it's like a theme like of just like stealing people's stuff.
Oh yeah, that actually makes sense. I didn't even think about that.
That's the only reason I thought it was in the deck because again, playing with other people's stuff doesn't really fit the theme of what we're doing. Like
Yeah,
I
it
think this
fits
deck,
the bandits, but not like the raider
yes,
theme, but not the token theme.
which I think this deck plays best as a token, like a Mardu
Dedicated, yeah.
dedicated Mardu tokens deck. There's literally nothing really worth screaming about in the artifacts. You got your talismans, arcane signet, soul ring. Survivor's Medkit is kind of okay. It's a 1 drop, so you can play it turn 1. Skull Clamp's the hot one.
It's also crazy
Crunch.
art too.
It's also sick art. Crunch your guys, draw 2 cards. Like Skull Clamp is, I think everybody agrees, in a token deck, Skull Clamp is sometimes the best card.
Is key, yeah.
Um,
Well, drawing
the
cards wins
bobblehead,
games.
yeah, exactly. At any time, like again, you're this realistically, if you can keep the board state and keep your things out, you can draw so many cards with this deck. I was drawing quite a lot of cards. Um,
And
we were
especially if
talking
you're
about
not interacted with in a mass like a quantity
yeah,
or
and like
white wise.
you're in Mardu. It's not. You mean you have a lot of white effects that can protect your board. There are some red redirects and stuff like that. It's not impossible to. I mean, again, it's not in this deck because it would
Oh
make
yeah,
much sense to have
if you
Nefarious
wanted
protection in
deflecting
it.
SWAT, another honorable mention.
Yeah, deflecting SWAT. I
Reverberate.
almost reverberate. What's the white? A flawless maneuver. Obviously, Nefarious protection,
Oh
which
yeah,
is not in this deck.
T-pose.
So you have ways to protect your board so you can just keep a really strong engine going. We were talking about the bobbleheads. Some of these precons I think only have one, and these bobbleheads you need more. We were talking about it's supposed to be special, and then it's your stats that you can put into in the Fallout games. It's got charisma and luck. Luck is the only other instance of dice rolling in the deck. There's only 2 cards. It's dice and Mister. It's this and Mister Hand. So I don't really understand why it's in this deck, other than they put the Mister Hand card in this. This is also an honorable cut mention. The bobbleheads, and then if you're cutting this one, you might as well cut this one because
Oh
like pay
yeah,
for.
because you might as well not have only one.
Yeah, the bobbleheads are not good probably unless you have like 3, maybe. So like to pay for create X. So even with both of these, you're only going to pay 4 to get 2/1/1s. That's a stinky rate. I didn't cut them because I cut some other cards just to say, but I know the bobbleheads are very thematic and themed for the Fallout decks, but you could probably cut both of these.
Also another
Um,
controversial take. This is a controversial episode apparently.
what to cut the bobbleheads?
Yeah, people love them.
Listen, I think they are, like I said, it's very thematic. I like what they do, but like a pay 4 rate to get 2/1/1 tokens is not
Yeah.
good.
Well, that's like it's pay
Other
5 to draw one in the energy deck.
exactly. So unless I'm being honest, unless I'd say at least there's 3 or more. Yeah,
Fair.
but keep it going. The land base is kind of sick. It's kind of good. I mean, basics. I'm just going through them real quick. You got your basics. You got some Scrylands. I don't like the tap Trilands, but not everybody can have Triomes.
So
cycles.
so you do not like the Triland?
I don't like these tri-lands because they're not fetchable and they still enter tapped.
So to be fair,
But
in decks that I've actually run them. I actually really like them. Now these temples and the tainteds, I take out immediately.
the where'd they go?
Temple of Silence, Temple of Malice,
Oh,
Temple of Triumph.
all the Skylands.
Yeah, I take those out.
They're okay, and then I know people are big on the Surveil ones from Murders at Karlov Manor, which I
I
haven't played
don't
as
like
much with.
the Shadow Blood Ridge, the like filter lands. I feel like
I'm okay
with
with the
the
filter
land
lands because it's
base,
still paying for two. Like you're still getting two.
that's fair. But I feel like in Magic now these days we have a land base good enough that you don't really need to fix your colors. I
That's
also
true.
tend
That's
to
fair.
add Chromatic Lantern in most of my decks.
Also, still fight card. I mean, you could it on a budget. Something like Chromatic Lantern's still good. Like
And
not
weirdly,
everybody
Chromatic Lantern used to be expensive.
exactly. And then I mean, power crept a little bit, and there's maybe better lands. But listen, if you're playing a three color deck and it's on a budget,
Well,
throw
and
it
so
in
like
there.
I think repetition is key in Magic. So like if you
Yeah.
can get multiple things that give your lands to tap for multiple colors, like I think that is
Mm-hmm.
more important than
Exactly.
efficiency of it.
Um, what are these? These are I don't know if I'm gonna use the right vernacular. The check lands they enter the battlefield unless you control a some type of land type. I
Yeah,
think
I believe they are the check lands. Yeah,
those are
I
good.
really like those. Yeah,
I think they're like again something like there's all three of them. There should be all if it's a three color deck, three color precon, put all three of them in, or just any precon. Put the check lands in. Why not? I don't know what they are called if it's the two or more basics, but there's only one of them in the deck, which is fine. A cycle land that you can fetch, I guess. Two filter lands, and then two of the they could tap for one or the other if you control a swamp or plains or whatever. These are fine. Land base is like I think this is a solid precon mana base. There's no Temple of the False God in it. Good. I don't like Windbreak Heights. It's got a hideaway four. If you pay one and tap it, exile, you play the exile card for free. If you, what is it, attack with three or more creatures, you could. It could be fine, but I don't know. I'm not always big on the hideaway cards.
the green one
And
is very
Memorial,
good. The white
the green
one,
one's good.
yeah,
Memorial to Glory, I think sucks. One, it enters tapped and it just taps for white, and you can pay for and get two white soldiers. That's again, paying for to get two 1/1s is a stinky rate. I don't like it. And then I do like Diamond City. Enters with a shield counter, and you can tap it and remove the shield counter as long as you attacked with two or more. I'm sorry, activate only if two or more creatures enter the battlefield. So this
which
with
if
Caesar.
Caesar just attacking.
There you go. And then you can move a. I think does it activate at sorcery speed? No, you can do whatever. So,
So it's instant speed on attacks as the creatures enter.
yep. I think they have to enter first. So,
You could technically do it in
second,
response to removal.
it would have the guys would have to come in first. So you'd have to. All right, I'm declaring attackers. If somebody says, "Oh, before attackers,"
Okay, then it wouldn't
then they
work.
can do
But
that.
if they were doing
I
it
believe. But if they,
before
yeah, if I go to
blockers,
yes, you should be able to tap that, move the shield counter on it, and be able to protect your guy. So
also
I
yeah,
think
it's
this
just
card
good all around.
it's if you had budget, if you had more money and you needed to cut a land, I'm sure you could cut this. But if you're keeping it on a budget, this is a good piece of interaction and protection. Yeah, there's a ton of cards I didn't talk about, but I think I talked about quite a lot of them. Make tokens, make tokens. Try to build up a good board
Yeah,
state.
go wide, not necessarily big.
Go. I think this is a go wide deck. I think this deck works best as a go wide.
Yeah, and we'll talk about your first ad, man.
We're gonna
Surge
add.
of
We're gonna add
Salvation.
Surge of Salvation. We were talking about white protection. It's just another piece of protection, and it's a one drop instant. You and permanents you control gain hexproof until end of turn. Prevent all damage that black or red sources would deal to creatures you control. I mean, one that stops like a blasphemous act. This is just good protection, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
God, yeah, does the thing in more ways than one, in more
and,
situations than one.
and for
For
one
one,
white,
yeah,
it I don't think a lot of people play this card. I don't know why. Like I remember when this came out and I kept looking at it. I was like, this seems really good. This seems like a really good piece of white protection. Yet it's not like end all, like anything that's like exile all creatures and stuff like that, but what blows up like token stacks, it's somebody dropping a blasphemous act and dealing 13 damage to everything.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
again, there you could do better white protection. This was kind of like a more budget ad. think I put in. You could obviously do Teferi's Protection or
Oh,
Flawless
but yeah,
Maneuver.
again, repetition is key, and this was a good third or fourth card that does the thing.
Yeah, and like I said, budget.
Especially if you're
Like,
blowing up the board, like this deck has multiple board wipes in it.
yeah, Eredish the Founder. It has in list. This is another one of those cards where it's like I don't. This could be a New Vegas character. I'm not 100% sure. Um, it is in list as this creature attacks. You may tap a non-attacking creature you control without summoning sickness, which sucks. So it like already is nerfed. When you do, add its power to this creature's power until end of turn. Whenever a creature you control attacks, if it enlisted a creature this combat, the creature that attacked gains double strike until end of turn. If that creature's power is 4 or greater, draw a card. So you have to add 3 things to it, or it depends on how big the things are. You have to add enough to get this to 4, and this is, I believe, the only instance of enlist in the deck. So this, to me, this serves no purpose.
Yeah, that's fair.
And also the fact that it specifically says you can't tap creatures with summoning sickness. Wait, you mean tap? Yeah, you can't tap creatures that just came in. Like there's always those ways, like tap target creature and it gets around summoning sickness. This specifically stops it, as long as I'm knowing
Yeah,
my rules of magic right.
yeah, that's very strange.
So this is this I don't know. This doesn't do anything for me. I don't know why I would ever want this in the deck still. Like that's what I'm saying. Like things like the bobblehead, you could keep in more, but if you want the deck to run better, you could get rid of this. I think
Yeah, you have to
specifically
choose
does
theme
not
or
do anything in this
power.
deck really.
Yeah,
Like you could
absolutely.
pump it and then have a big body that would have double strike. But if somebody just wants to block it, then they're just gonna block it. I don't like it. Get it out of here.
And then your second ad, we have Mentor of the Meek.
Mentor of the Meek. I think we were both talking about how this is a good card, especially if you have a mana sink to pay for this. So you're gonna attack, get 2 dudes that would trigger Mentor of the Meek, and then pay 1. So like, I mean,
Yeah,
all the
absolutely.
tokens. You like this thing is just gonna go off, and it's another draw engine, and people are gonna want to get rid of that immediately.
I also like that it triggers more than once,
Mm-hmm.
so you could
And
pay
it's also
two.
and it is also a human soldier. So if you do want to lean more into a one Caesar's a human soldier, but it makes soldiers. So if you wanted to build up a soldier sub theme to this deck, Mentor the Meeks fits in your theme.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
And then
I think
your
it's a really good
second.
one. I like. There's really not much else to say about him
Oh no,
except that
he
it's
does
really
the
good.
thing in this deck so well.
Yeah, and like I said,
People
if you
are
have,
falling out of love with this card, but I still
I
really
don't know
like it.
why. I think it's just as things are getting bigger, but
Power
or
creep, I
people
think.
playing
Yeah,
less token decks, but like again, attack. Get 2, you'll sack the 1 guy. Get your 2 guys. As long as you have what? 1 mana. Oh, you pay the other 1 life to draw. Then you just draw 2 cards.
and technically
For
you
attack,
could sack himself.
he could sack himself. Like in a pinch, if like you're really not, if your board state is like you're looking to try to build back up.
Yeah, you
Yeah, you
just
could
need
always,
the 2 people or the card
and you
draw.
just need a 1 guy to turn into 2 guys. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Like it.
the card I have taken away out for that one is going to be Colonel Autumn.
Taking out Colonel Autumn. Oh, from Mayan. Yeah, where is he? Just so I can read the card real quick.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's again. It has the only instant of exploit in the deck, which is when this creature enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature, which is fine because you can sack stuff if you have things that want to be sacked. And other legendary creatures you control have exploit, and this deck does have a fair amount of legendary creatures. I don't know. Whenever a creature you control exploits a creature, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So it can pump, but I don't know. Just I don't know if I want to do it. You could. This could be a fringe case.
you also
Now
have
that I'm
to
more,
have a legendary creature enter, and then you sack your creature consistently every single time.
so it depends. I'd say if you really up the tokens, maybe I'll add this one back in, and I'm going to take out
That's
the.
fair. Yeah,
Now that I'm looking at it again, I think I want to put it back in the deck. But like this is right now, this is like a fringe case card for me because again, it's you got to make sure what it's coming in. If you're not playing a legendary creature, then it doesn't do anything.
yep.
And there's a fair amount of them in the deck, but then you have to make sure that's like the biggest thing about it is you have to play a legendary creature for this to actually do anything in the deck.
Yeah, I
So
completely agree.
I,
And like you said, if you're not playing legendary creatures, and if you're mainly playing token generators,
it's not
yeah,
going to work. So like right now, it's cut for me right now. It could be put back in because we're
speaking
going to
though,
another.
this
Speaking of
legendary token is the
of
generator.
like the best legendary token generator creature. Yeah, Adeline. I don't think I need to tell people about this card. This card is
Yeah,
cracked.
absolutely.
It's cracked in half. I mean, you're already gonna have a bunch of tokens, so she's gonna be huge. She's gonna have vigilance, and she's just gonna get you more stuff to sack and
Absolutely.
swing with. Like you
Also,
don't need
another
any.
good target for the indestructible counter.
Mm-hmm. So I don't need to talk about her. We all know what she do.
Yep.
She good.
And then thing for that, I have you taking out
Ruthless Rad Rats. There are some things with squad in the deck, so that's not why it's getting cut. But its squad is to exile 4 cards from your graveyard. Yeah, so you're gonna pay 3 for a 2/2 with menace, which is I don't know in like a limited environment, like in draft or something like that. Yeah,
draft.
that's
It's real
fine.
good. Yeah.
That's fine in draft, but to exile 4 cards to just get another one, I don't. Yeah, it's not that good. To me, it's just not good.
Absolutely.
Just not good card. Okay, so I'm getting it out of here. For
I have
Tevesh.
yep, I have Teversat. My bad.
So yeah, if you've never played CEDH or seen like a Tevesh deck just fucking back break a board, um, Tevesh is for those. It's the only planeswalker we're putting in the deck. He planeswalked to United States of America in post-apocalyptic
New
America.
United States of America.
New United States. So for anybody who doesn't know what Tevesh, so you can uptick him for 2, which is what most people do, and just get 2 thralls. So you're already in the token theme, so it doesn't fit the main tokens of like humans or soldiers. But you uptick them for 2, or since we're already doing enough token generation, you can uptick them for 1. Sacrifice a. Let me just make sure I'm reading it. Sacrifice another creature or planeswalker, which won't matter. If you do, you draw 2 cards, and then draw another 2 cards if you sacrificed your commander, which we're not gonna sacrifice Caesar. But if you get him to 10, which should be very easy to protect as long as a big flyer doesn't come in, you can ult him for 10 and gain control of all commanders and put all commanders from command zone into play under your control. So you just steal everybody's commanders.
I have aggressively attacked Teversat every time it has touched the board.
Like it is immediately targeted for sure. You have to watch out for flyers.
But it's a
And
good
either
target to not get Caesar targeted.
exactly like if people are like, let's say this is maybe the second time you've cast Caesar or even the third because people are like, we got to stop the draw engine and all that. People Teversat is immediately the threat because again, you probably uptick him for the 2 mostly because you're going to get enough card draw from somewhere else in this deck that you don't
Plus, you
need
can
to
sack the
crunch.
thralls to make 2 1/1 humans.
Exactly.
Trade
You're
an
gonna
0/1 for a 1/1.
exactly. So you're gonna uptick him 2. So what? It's a 4, 6, 8, 10 3-turn clock, and then steal everybody's commanders, which is
And it
funny.
doesn't technically matter if he dies. Because
No, like
yeah.
if it gets removed, it gets removed. Like this is strictly like if you get to do it, it's worth keeping
It's
in
more
the
like
deck, even if
icing
you
on the
only get
cake, yeah.
yeah, even if you only get to do it once every like I don't know. I don't know what the rate would be for somebody. I don't know what the ulting Teversat rate is,
Probably
but
like once. You get to do it
yeah,
once in a
like
play group.
because like this is a target immediately, which is why
But
some people just play it as
it's
a
a
commander.
great target.
Oh, it's so good. So yeah, Teversat, it does the tokens, and if you needed to just do the 1 to draw 2 cards,
And that Christmas
you could.
Wonderland every now and then is just gonna be the
Yeah.
icing on the cake.
So I don't know. Like I'd be like as soon as this deck came out and I saw like what it does, like Teversat was like the first card I wanted to add to this deck.
And then I have
Uh,
Mr. House to come out.
yeah, which I think everybody has been cutting from this deck. I think everyone was really excited about it until the deck like list came out, and then everyone realized this is the only one of 2 instances of dice rolling, and all this card cares about is rolling dice. It's not a good card.
Yeah,
It's not a.
absolutely.
Let me rephrase. It's not a good card in this
In
deck.
this deck, yeah.
This is an entire build around if you're gonna do it. Um, just to pay 4 to roll a dice, like it's I don't know why
And it
bother.
just says for
Whenever you roll a 4 or higher, create a 3/3 robot
and so it
artifact
doesn't
creature
technically
token. So yeah, this card, Mr. Ann. I know people were hyped on it. I think they like the character again. Come from somebody who doesn't know much about New Vegas. Didn't really understand. I know he's a big character in the game, but this card sucks. This card sucks in this deck. I'm sorry. There's no such thing as objectively just bad cards. This card just you need to build around this card. This is a different deck entirely.
yeah, absolutely, that's fair. And then I have Vampiric
Yep.
Rights.
Vampiric Rights. Again, it's just another sack outlet. Pay to sacrifice a creature, gain 1 life, and draw a card. That's good. I
Always
think
good,
that's super
consistent too.
consistently good, and it's a 1-drop. That's a turn 1 play. I think anytime you can have like a good turn 1 play that sets yourself up, that's a-okay.
Also, I've never heard of that card until like literally you just said it.
Vampiric Rights, yeah, it's sneaky good, and it's at common or uncommon, so like this is not a expensive card. This is the one I have down is the Enchanting Tales version.
Nice, very beautiful too.
It's very nice, and it's in a ton of sets, so like this is a really easy pickup.
And then I have the card that you're taking out for that is
Yep.
Nipton Lottery.
No, and I did want to say it also helps, like I mentioned before, you gain the life when you sack it, so that pays for the 1 life that you got to pay to draw a card. So
Oh, fair,
you
yeah.
go to attack, you have 2 guys, you lose a life. Later, you have 2 mana, crunch one of the guys that you just made, gain the life back, draw an extra card. This is good. Yeah, and I'm gonna cut it for another board wipe. The Nipton Lottery one, I like to run less board wipes. I don't really run more than 2 normally. I think in a commander pod where everybody runs 2 board wipes, that's fine. 4 board
That's fair, I
wipes,
agree with
or
that.
not 4 board wipes. 8 board wipes in a pod potentially, I think is fine. Games need to end. But the thing is so choose a creature at random. You gain control of that creature until end of turn. Untap it. It gains haste until end of turn. Destroy all other creatures. So one, you give it back to them. Right until end of turn. Gains haste till end of turn. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you only get the creature till end of turn.
Yep.
Until end of turn. So
But technically all creatures die, so potentially it would die.
then destroy all creatures. Oh, so it's still a board wipe, but I don't know. I'd rather run any other
Yeah,
Mardu
you steal
colored
somebody's biggest creature, you swing at them, and then kill all creatures.
and then kill creatures, which is that could be fine, but it's at random, so you don't get to pick. So you could still,
Fair.
let's say you roll a dice and then you hit one of your 1/1s. Cool, I got a 1/1 that I already owned. So you're in Mardu. You're in the board wipe colors, I'd say. Cut it for a Wrath of God. Cut it for Damnation.
Damn.
Cut it for Dam. Yeah, you can run Dam. Cut it for a Blasphemous Act. Well, not Blasphemous Act.
I mean, Blasphemous Attack would be good.
Like you could, to me, I don't know. To me, you could cut this for literally any other board wipe in the colors that do board wipes the best. You could do what is it? There's ones where it's like pick a creature type, destroy all creatures that aren't
Oh
that type,
yeah, Kindred Dominance. You could choose
which
soldiers.
which is white.
That's black.
It's black. Oh, so still you're in the color. So cut that for this. Like to me, I don't know.
We'll go over to my ads. So I think Welcoming Vampire should be in the
Good.
deck.
Yep.
It's another good repetitive effect. I feel like we keep hammering that in.
Redundancy is key.
Yeah, it basically does the thing. Anytime a 2 or less drop enters the battlefield each turn, you can draw a turn.
Mm-hmm.
It only happens once each turn, but if you can have a way to have that happen on multiple people's turns, it can start to generate a significant amount of cards.
If you're running Vampiric Rights at the same time, you can sack on their turns. You can sack whenever.
Yeah,
There you go.
absolutely.
As long as you got the mana for it, obviously.
And I'm actually gonna take out Lethal Schemes.
Which one is that? That is
That's the
sorcery.
that's the Convoke one. Destroy
Oh,
target
okay.
creature or planeswalker.
Yep.
So I just don't think it's fast enough. I think you could do similar things for just cheaper in those colors. Similar to like what Mook said about board wipes, I think target removal has gotten very efficient these days with each set.
Yes, it is.
My second ad is going to be Anointed Procession.
Yep.
It's going to be a relatively expensive one, but I think this one will
Kind of
really make
shocked.
the. Oh yeah, that didn't get reprinted.
I was a little shocked that this one didn't get a reprint in the set. Again, I understand not reprinting a Dockside in a Commander Precon unless it's like I don't know. Listen, they put the first reprint of Dockside in what was it? Double Masters, which is like a limited set, a limited premium set. If
Yeah, yeah.
Dockside gets put, if Dockside somehow ends up in Modern Horizons 3 and they're doing Commander decks, I'm sure you could see Dockside in
Oh,
maybe
that
that
would
deck.
fit. That would fit. Yeah.
I am shocked it didn't get printed in Commander Masters in a Commander Precon. But I was a little shocked that didn't, especially with other doubler effects getting in the Mothman deck.
Oh, very good ones too. Yeah.
Yeah, so this one feels like a bit of a miss.
Yeah, we also need to get that price down. It's a little bit too expensive right now.
Yeah, what is that? Well, oh, while you're talking about it, I just want to look it up now.
Yeah, I think it's around like $30 still.
Did procession
And the card I would take out.
52.
Oh shoot. Uh,
That's also on that's TCG player, so that could be
yeah.
whenever.
So the card I took out is Mysterious Stranger. I don't think he does enough. Um,
No, it's fun.
yeah,
That's it. It's a fun card.
it seems like he's going to be very good in a spell slinger deck, but not
Hmm.
a token generator deck.
No.
Also, the Mysterious Stranger doesn't hang out with the bad guys. Get him out of here.
Yeah, it's I think I hate sometimes like being like, oh, as seen on game nights, because I think sometimes cards get like their reputation from that show.
Or like
But
Wayfarer was Bauble from
commanding
Commander's
no
Quarters.
Commander's Quarter, which listen, Wayfarer Bubble is a great card. I
Very
almost
good
put that
card,
in the
but
deck,
got very expensive.
which is crazy. But it is a card like I'd say that should be like that. If you're listen, if you're gonna add another card, I almost put Wayfarer Bobble in the things to add, and I was gonna
Yeah,
cut it
if you
from
don't
my
have
deck.
green, you should add things that are able to search any land. Like you need
Yeah.
that sometimes.
Um,
Sometimes a land
but
can end the game. You need to get that right color. You need to get that
or just
rogue's
not missing your
passage.
land drop.
Yeah, you need sometimes you just need it.
But yeah, like see, like what was it? What was what are we talking about? I got distracted
Anointed
now.
Procession and
No, the card you just mentioned that you're cutting, like whiffed real bad on game nights.
Mysterious Stranger.
Yeah, so I think that's the thing. Like it could be a really cool card to play. It just seems like it's a fun kooky commander card, and maybe
Oh
not
yeah,
necessarily a good
absolutely.
card.
It's gonna be a gotcha card one time, but like most of the
Yep.
time, I don't think it's gonna do the thing.
I'd rather play a big gotcha card like Tevishsat and try to
Uh,
steal it.
Not to copycat on Mook, I think Mentor of the Meek again is a good
Yeah.
ad. It's going to be repetition for the Welcoming Vampire. Sometimes you just need that really hammer in. I really believe that card draw wins games. And I'm going to take it out for Stolen Strategy. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of each opponent's library. Until end turn, you may cast spells from among those. So I think if you can just consistently draw cards from your deck, that is going to be better than casting other people's decks who aren't necessarily doing your strategy or in your colors.
Yeah. Like I said, a fun card. Definitely if you're playing like some kind of deck that likes to like play things from exile, awesome card. Not sure really what its purpose is in here in the deck. But it just be kind of annoying.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I went more of the human soldier. I realized that this is a soldier. So
Mm-hmm.
Esper Sentinel. It is a human soldier artifact creature. It checks literally all the boxes. So whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, they're going to draw a card where it X's its power. So if you can get his power up, you're going to increase the chances of you drawing a card, but it's just going to get you more consistent card draw and be a great target because people hate this card.
And getting him big is there is like I didn't really talk about them when I was going through the deck, but there are anthem effects in this deck. So getting Esper bigger is not hard in this deck.
And unfortunately, I'm making Mook sad again. I'm going to take out the Battle of Hoover Dam.
It's
Uh,
just a good card. I think it's a good card.
it is a good card. I don't know if it's going to be a good card in this deck. So I think if you have something that you can consistently maybe double the counters and not necessarily just the tokens that we're making, maybe like a green white would be pretty amazing. I just
Yep.
don't think it does enough in the deck to do the thing. I think an extra card each turn would be better. Let me take these off.
And then just because we both mentioned, oh no, you have one more card.
Oh, yep.
Sorry.
And then Cathar's Crusade for my last one. That's gonna be my big ad. So I think games just kind of need to end, like Mook said. And I think when you're
Let them end.
dropping two tapped and attacking humans each turn, that is two plus one counters to each attacking creature. So that'd be Caesar and your two attacking creatures at the very minimum. If you have more creatures entering, obviously, if you have an anointed procession or a token doubler like we thought, so that'll be four counters. So it could be pretty out of control.
Yeah.
And then the takeout for me would be the survival med kit. It's a one drop. I
Fair.
just don't think it does enough.
It
Um,
doesn't do much.
yeah, thematically it is amazing, but power wise, I just don't think it's there. So if
No,
you're
and
gonna
also
keep these, if you're gonna
you
keep
can
them as
only do the instant
precons,
once.
yeah, if you're
Yeah.
gonna play them as precons, I feel like they're amazing. But if you're going to play in a tuned meta or even an upgraded meta, I just don't think it does the thing.
No, and also like when I first played it, I was like, wait, you can only pick the thing once, and then once it's done, it's just a dead card.
Yeah, so you can draw a card once, you
Hmm.
can create a food once, or you
And th-
can. Yeah, that's not very good.
and then you'd have to use the last one, which is to crack it, right?
Well, target player loses two life, or no, target player loses a rad counter, two rad counters.
Oh, yeah,
Oh
you
no,
can
target
lose.
player loses all rad counters and sacrifice it.
Yeah, so like you could pop it if you're playing against
The
another creature.
Mothman, yeah,
Yeah, so like outs if unless you're playing against a other deck from this set, that card's useless.
yeah, absolutely.
Not useless, but
No,
it's
no, no, yeah.
not good.
Again, there's no dead cards, but like it is going to be a very situational card where it
Hmm.
is going to be a very turn one, but like you may not crack it until turn three.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. So this is pretty much our deck tech. Did you have
I
anything else you
will.
wanted to talk
Yeah, I
about?
was gonna say since we both mentioned the same card, I'm gonna mention I honorable mention of a card that I was gonna put in this list, and then I pivoted just to change things up. But this is a Mirkwood Bat deck.
Oh, hold on, let me add that. I'll just pull
Merc
that up real fast.
Mirkwood Bat is really good in a deck where you're gonna be making and crunching tokens,
Also very cheap.
and also very cheap. I mean, it's a what? It's four. Yeah, it's 4 mana cast, but I mean, a 2/3 body with flying, and then whenever create a guy, crunch a guy, meet again, you attack with Caesar, you crunch a guy that deals 1 damage, and then you get 2 guys, which deals 2 more damage. That's 3 damage every attack. Pretty good. And then
Boom,
also,
yeah,
yep,
Merc
there
with
it is.
bats.
This is a Mirkwood deck. Even though neither of us mentioned it, I was gonna, and then I pivoted and I was like, no, this is
Oh,
Mirkwood
it's a
bats.
great ad. Yeah, absolutely. I
Is
just didn't even think
I would
about it.
argue is maybe like auto in this deck.
Oh, 100%. If you
Like I
have
was
one and
thinking
if
of.
you can get access to one,
Mhm.
100%.
And I was because I was thinking like Mayhem Devil as well,
Ooh, I
but
didn't even think about that.
Mayhem Devil's a little more pays off is because as long as you're you're getting really good on the sacking stuff and you have outlets.
Yep, like
Also,
your skull or Ashnod's
yep,
altar would be another great honorable mention.
and also is a good like deterrent for people that are playing other things that want to sacrifice. Mayhem Devil's like sees the CEDH play for a reason because it sees CEDH play for a reason. It's good.
Oh yeah,
But
absolutely.
I think in this deck, Mirkwood Bats is like immediate add.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
I mean, like we already touched on like some cards. Like depends on what your budget is. There's obviously better white protection cards and
Yep, absolutely.
red
If you
and
can't afford the Anointed Procession, go for the Merc with Bats because that's gonna be just as
yep.
powerful in certain situations.
Obviously, like your deflecting swats, Imp's Mischief, which got a reprint. Like they're your counter spells in not blue colors, um, just to keep stuff safe. But yeah,
Run your
there's
Mana Tithe. Keep people guessing.
keep people guessing with a mana tithe. Yeah, I don't know. This deck, I went from like when it came out, I was like, that's fine. Like it looks cool, and then I started playing it. I was like, oh, this deck is kind of good. It's pretty good.
It's also in very fun colors that do very fun things.
Yeah, and I
Bitter
never.
Blossom would be another great,
Yeah.
great, great ad. It's gonna put your life at a little bit of a clock, but it might be a little bit fun because you're gonna take your one from Bitter Blossom and then take your one from him, so it kind of makes you on
Mhm.
a little bit more aggro theme.
Like
But yeah, I think it'd
there's
be very
different ways
fun.
you can go. Like I said, I think this deck really shines as like as a token deck, which maybe that's the only thing I didn't like want to do more is because I always seem to build a token deck. I
Oh, dude, I
can't get
love a
away.
token deck.
I love them. They're fun. Like speaking of, I mean, we didn't mention Moonshaker Cavalry. Is
Ooh, I didn't even think about that one. Holy crap.
I didn't think about it because it's the easy one to put in, but it's a finisher in a token deck,
Oh yeah,
and also
absolutely.
in a non hoof deck, Moonshaker Cavalry is pretty good.
Oh yeah, it's in my Knights deck for Hoofin.
Yeah, I don't know. This deck is fun. Like I liked it a lot when I started like tinkering with it more. It's not going to come with the upgrades. Upgrades are up to you to do with what you see fit. Because like I said, we talked about there's a bunch of different ways you could do with it. It's just the cards that we were thinking about.
Yep, we just wanted to leave it open ended for you, so we give you the upgrade tools, and then you guys can take it and upgrade it. But one of the upgrade giveaway prinos is you will get two cards from the Pride Secret Layer to add to this deck. So they will be random. So we will obviously make them usable for that deck, obviously, but we'll get those taken care of. but yeah, so each deck will come with the deck, a mat, some 3D card tokens, custom deck boxes, life counters, some stickers, all thanks to a bunch of MTG Magic creators, Kuro, Dub, Peachy Pop, One More Game, Hobbs, Chris Marsh, who made the tokens, Proxies, who did the card tokens, Firefly Toys and Games, who are providing the deck boxes, Jank Bank, who's providing 4 custom follow playmats that you are going to get. So one deck for each playmat. It's going to be very amazing. I just want to say thank you guys for watching and checking out these videos. And I want to say thank you again to MookDub for doing this and taking the time out of his day to do this with me.
It was no problem at all.
Yeah,
Thank you for
and
having
I'll
me.
pass it to you if you want to do any plugs at the end.
Follow me on TikTok or Instagram, where I post little sketch comedy videos. Hopefully, some new stuff in the future once I get some other projects finished. I kind of want to start branching out a little bit, not necessarily to like other platforms, but not just doing like meme videos, and maybe try to do some other stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Stretch
uh,
your theatrical legs a little bit.
yeah, I mean, you can follow me. You can follow me on Twitter too, but it's a cesspool, and I don't I don't use it that much.
I mean, that's absolutely fair. You got to stay where it's friendly.
But yeah,
But yeah, thank you guys
primarily
again so much for being on.
primarily TikTok, Instagram, at MookDubsMTG. And
Yeah,
thanks
hell
for
yeah.
having me. And yeah,
Yeah,
that's all
thank
I
you
got.
guys so much. And then again, check the link below for the way to figure out how to win this deck. I will talk to you guys later. Have a great night.